Hello, dear friends, and welcome. My name is Alyssa, and this is my channel of New Direction. Um, Today's reading is going to be slightly different. Today is October 21st, 2020. And October 21st has a bit of a different meaning to me. 15 years ago today, I lost the love of my life, actually, to be very honest, my twin flame, my other half, however you want to put that. He was killed in a car accident. And for 15 years, this day, October 21st, it's always been a hard one. It's one that usually kind of starts creeping in as September sets. My birthday is the beginning of October, and usually after that, it's quite a downward spiral until today. But each year I've been faced with new challenges of growth and new phases of my journey and where I am and where I have been. And that journey is something that is very personal for each one of us, but it is something that I, for years and years and years, felt like I was going at alone. I grew up in a religious background, but after the death of a loved one like that, there's just so much pain, so much vulnerability that goes along with that kind of loss that you disconnect. I disconnected, not all the time, but I certainly disconnected from my higher. And it's taken quite a few years of self-growth to really get myself back into a place of being beyond just that suffering. And so that is really what our reading is going to talk about today. So this is kind of a new day for me. This is the first time ever that I've kind of approached this day, and there's still the heaviness, there's still the mourning, but there's a difference within the suffering today that I am feeling. And so for that, we're doing a reading. Okay, so this reading is a little different. It is a timeless reading, so trust that whenever you find it, it is meant for you to find. And it's going to be a bit of a deep one. There's actually going to be two parts. So there is going to be this first part, and then there's going to be a free extended version to this reading too. So if you feel like this reading was something that you really could relate to and you were wanting to dig into it more, we're going to dig into more kind of the shadow and the light aspects of this growth. So the title of this video is Let's Get Real. Okay. Let's get real about our growth, guys. So we're going to start with the angels and the ancestors here. I have shuffled all these decks, a couple housekeeping things. I am outside. My horses, you might probably hear because it's gross and yucky outside, and sometimes they just get miserable with each other on those days. My dogs are outside as well. My son is home. But anyway, I cuss a little bit too, so if that's something you're totally against, there's your heads up, there's your warning. All right, two more shuffles here. So really what we're looking for here is we're asking the angels and the ancestors just for the energies, that we are looking to embrace, the energies of this growth that we are looking to embrace and the energy that they are asking us to kind of be mindful of. There's one in here that was thinking it wanted to come out. Oh, okay. The she-wolf is on the bottom of the deck. Unleash the wild within. Isn't that beautiful? The hermit, retreat and recharge. And medicine mother, honor your inner knowing. Wow, those are beautiful energies for us to start this. The hermit is one who puts himself in a phase of retreating and recharging because he knows that is what is best for his soul. He knows that that is best for him to understand where he needs to go next. And the medicine mother, to honor your inner knowing, she is someone who heals, who understands that healing power is one that is always within her. And that is one thing that we must really acknowledge within our own growth, is that healing power for ourselves to go forward is always within us. for each one of us, what the pieces that we need, the keys, you know, so to say, that we need. They are within us all. And it is important to trust our inner knowing. It is important to trust our inner voice, you know, and to listen to what it is that our soul is saying, you know, address this, acknowledge this, heal this. You know, if it's something that you keep coming up and you keep having to block out and you're like, oh, I'm not ready to deal with that, just face it. You know, if it keeps coming up into your life, then it's something that you must be brave. You know, Spirit is saying, no, child, like now is the time, heal this. Energy here to embrace from the spirit animal. Wow. The canary, sing your own song, you know, do not be caged. Okay, and that is so important. It is important that we must, you know, honor ourselves, honor our authenticity. You know, that we free ourselves from any cage that others have put us in, from the limiting beliefs of society or from ourselves, from family, from friends. Sing the song that makes your soul happy. Now is a lucky time, the rabbit spirit. Go forward. Now is a fertile time. Come out of the dark space. Open yourself up to new opportunities and new growth. You know, allow spirit to co-create with you. Rabbits are fertile little beings, you know. Look at this eagle. Spirit has your back. And that's about going above and beyond, soaring in the clouds, acknowledging that you do not have to fly with the flock. You soar high because you were meant to soar above the crowd. And chameleon, act as if it is already here. Act as if this life has already started. You are in it. There is no waiting for this change. The change has come, my friends. You are in it. The change is now. All right. I don't know if those will stay, but we'll try. What beautiful energies to start that off with. Holy smokes. Okay. In the wasp spirit, look at this. Sometimes life stings, you know, and the message of the wasp spirit, I love that because the message of the wasp spirit is this suffering will continue as long as you can, you know, if you keep repeating it. If you tell the story of how much it stings, and that the sting continues to repeat itself, does it not? I'm afraid to tell you it does. We're actually going to move this like this, and this like this. I feel like I'm going to need some table space to get this reading all in here today. All right, so we are going to start with the Good Tarot, sorry, the Light Seers Tarot, actually. And this is by Chris Ann. This is a beautiful deck. It's actually like probably my go-to. I just love, I love the art on it. I love how like fresh and freeing and completely open-minded the deck is. All right, let's get into this. Let's get real. Okay, so we're going to start with the past energy here. Let's start with the past energy of this growth spirit. King of Wands. And the reason for that past energy spirit. Let's see the current energy here. And the reason for that current energy spirit. Wow. Oh boy. Steps you are making. What are the steps here the collective is making, Spirit? What are the steps we are making on this growth? Reasons we are making these steps. Look at that. On the bottom of the deck, my friends, the Chariot. The Chariot, and then the Hanged Man in reverse, the Devil in reverse, the Tower, the Judgment. Oh my goodness. You know, the Seven of Pentacles. You know, this is really a time that it is the now, you know, again, like take this reading as it fits. For some of you, you know, you are going to be in this place of beginning this journey. And for others, you're in a place like me where you're in the midst of this massive awakening and this massive growth. You know, 2020 has not only been a year of challenges, but it has been a year of complete evolution to your soul, to your being, to who you authentically and you know, in all rawness and vulnerability show up to be. It's as though you have aligned, you've set your intentions, you've aligned yourself here, you know, with this Chariot on the bottom. You've aligned yourself here to really allow Spirit to be like, and this is the direction we go, you know, and the Hanged Man behind this Chariot, because you did put yourself, you were the Hanged Man, you know, for so many readings throughout 2020, we have been in this Hanged Man state in which we needed to really allow Spirit to work through us, allow Spirit to open us up so that we could see the direction, so we could see the faults, so we could see the shadows, so we could understand these are the aspects of my life that I still need to change. The Devil in reverse behind that Hanged Man, because as Spirit asks you to come forward here, as the Hanged Man in reverse, you know, you're being called now to go forward. You're no longer in the Hanged Man state, my friends. Now it is time to go forward. Spirit has opened you up. Spirit has shown you the way. You know, the Chariot is moving. It is time now to take those actions. It's time, like the chameleon, to act as if these changes, this life is already begun, because it has. The structures, the Devil here in reverse, and then the Tower behind it, because the structures have crumbled. The destruction have happened. And look at that. See this? The Judgment behind that. Devil in reverse, the Tower, and then the Judgment. Because what needed to crumble in your life has crumbled. You have done that. You allowed the Tower moment to come through. You allowed that, again, that rawness of being just open to what needed to come down. You allowed it to happen, and therefore released yourself over to the higher in whatever form that looks like to you. You have planted the seeds here. The inner strength is strong. And look at this, the Nine of Pentacles in reverse. Where you were blocked before in not being able to co-create and manifest with Spirit, where you were not before, where you were struggling to feel the abundance within self, that blockage that was within you, that has changed. It's as though you aligned yourself to the road. You acknowledged, look, I am not living a codependent life for something else now. I am living an independent, soul-led life for myself. You opened yourself up to the abundance of self that you had, to the love. That is this beautiful part of this growth. The past energy here was the King of Wands and the Hierophant, because it was as though you were struggling so hard to understand this who you were. It was as though you were like fumbling through the darkness, trying to figure out and trying to understand, okay, look, you know, the Hierophant is kind of like that, the structures, you know, and it can be the structures of religion, it can be the structures of life, it can be the structures of families, you know, that we grow up understanding. And as though the Hierophant really offers those kind of like life-shaping structures within our lives. You know, our past kind of, again, religious beliefs and rituals and kind of stuff like that we add into our own life. But within it in reverse here, I really feel like this past energy was almost your authenticity, the way that you came to the understanding of how those things all looked within your life. You know, for so many of us, like myself, I was shaped in a religious background. And yes, the religion that I grew up in, yes, there are many aspects to that religion that I hold strong to, that I have a strong foundation in. But the biggest aspect of it all, and the biggest lesson that I learned from it all, was that the Lord was much bigger than that religion. That it didn't matter the outline or the box that religion I grew up in believing. It didn't matter the outline of the box of that religion. What mattered was that the Lord's love, the fact that he still sent his son for all of us. It didn't matter the journey that we were walking on. We were here to continue just to align ourselves, you know, and as we fumble through the darkness, yes, okay, there are phases in which, you know, we go through, and it's hard for us to understand. It's hard for us to see the next step, right? It is. But there is that drive most of the time within us, especially people who are watching videos like this. There is that drive within us to find our authentic being, to understand our purpose, to understand our fire, our reasons, right? To understand that connection to something greater. To me, the Hierophant in reverse is not necessarily that blatant, it could be, but it's not necessarily that blatant like hatred towards a religion or to structure. To me, that King of Wands and that Hierophant in reverse, it was the understanding of how you still became yourself. You still became the spiritual being you needed to be. You took the lessons that are going to shape and build and align you to the life you want to become, but you understood that that box of religion wasn't necessarily, the only thing that was going to shape you. Your life is beyond that. The Lord is beyond that. The reason for this, look at this. The reason that this King of Wands and this Hierophant in reverse, the reason of this past energy was the Wheel of Fortune, the Ten of Cups, and the Two of Pentacles. And the reason that this energy took place, the reason that you had to go through these lessons of understanding, what fit your life and what didn't, and what made you authentic and who you were and what your being actually was because there was a need here to really change your outlook on what that emotional fulfillment of life looked like. There was a need here to understand that there needed to be a change within the balance of your life. There needed to be a flexibility within not only the action side, but the spiritual side of your life. The Wheel of Fortune opened you up, that past energy of having to discover who you were beyond the outlines of what society or family or religion has structured you to be. The reason here was so that you could understand that your cups, the cups that overflowed for a life of fulfillment, for a life of emotional fulfillment, they needed to have the balance, that it couldn't only be fire-led. You understand? The current energy here was the Ten of Wands and the Ace of Swords. And the Ten of Wands in reverse here, to me that I kind of feel like when the Ten of Wands is upright, that's almost like that completion. It's almost as though you're like just finishing, right? Like the Ten of Wands upright is like you've got a ways to go yet. It's the 100 meters left of the dash here. And when it's in reverse, I'm almost feeling as though this is the idea where you kind of come to the conclusion that, wait a minute, I'm actually past all those cycles. I've actually done all that growth. There isn't another 100 meters to go. There isn't some mysterious key that I'm looking for. There isn't some mysterious path that's left to keep unfolding before me. I'm here. I'm changed. The reason for this energy is the Queen of Wands, the Knight of Cups, and the Sun. And the reason I kind of feel that this energy, this thought is the reason that you're thinking this is because here you are as the Queen of Wands. Here you are understanding that this fire is actually within inside you the whole time. That you actually currently already possess all of that fuel that you need. It's like the medicine woman, right? She honors the inner knowing. The Queen of Wands honors the inner passion, like the King of Wands right here. Right? The fire is within them, and she intuitively knows this. The reason that, this clarity, this download, this understanding of, wait, this burden is actually over. I am already in the place that I need to be. The reason that this comes in so clear to you is because you understand here that you already are this magical being. And the moment you actually acknowledge, wait, I am that. I am that person. The moment you literally start acting as if singing your own song, understanding that right fucking now is the lucky time, right? You accept that cup of opportunity. You accept that Knight of Cups. And all that is, and within each of our lives, but it's opportunity, it's emotional fulfillment. And the Sun is behind that because there, again, is that fulfillment that you are longing to find. You just need to understand, my friends, that it is literally already in your hands. You're not completing the journey. There isn't something left of this massive journey to find. Acknowledge that this self-growth is here. It's now. Start living it. Okay? The steps you are making here, look at this. It's the Emperor, the Fool, and the Ace of Pentacles. Because you are the Emperor. You are the boss. You are your own emperor to this, this empire that you are ruling, which is your life. Now is the time to start that Fool. Now is the time to actually bring the tangible things to life that you want. Stop dreaming that it's going to come and start making it happen. You're head honcho, my friends. So do as an emperor would do. An emperor is not just going to sit here, okay? He's not just going to sit here and wait for the divine to bring what he needs into him. No, he's an emperor because he knows that it takes the hard work to get it. So he's going to make it happen. He has the faith here. He has the faith here that he's going forward with a new beginning. You know, and the Fool isn't someone who just starts out with all of these like fire kind of actions. The Fool is someone who literally is trust falling, is literally trusting Spirit to say, okay, now guide my way. And then the Ace of Pentacles is right behind, because the Ace of Pentacles is taking that pentacle within your hand and actually bringing tangible fruition to life. It's actually co-creating and manifesting what it is that you want to bring in here. And the reasons that this is all happening is the Ace of Wands, the King of Cups, and the Two of Cups in reverse. This Ace of Wands is this understanding that there is this new passion here where you've been disconnected, where you haven't been able to understand the duality and the blending that was needed from you. You know, maybe it's even where, you know, people have fallen short here. We can clarify actually that King of Cups and Two of Cups in reverse. But the reason these actions are needed from you is because this is not a time for you to wait for somebody else to do this for you. This is a time for you to acknowledge that if you're in this place of growth, then guess what? Put on your big girl fucking pants and just start making this happen. Stop selling yourself the bullshit lies that you can't do this and start singing the song of what you can actually do. Act as if this change is here because it is. Let's see, what is this King of Cups in reverse here? The King of Cups in reverse is the Hanged Man. The King of Pentacles and the Knight of Pentacles in reverse. For some of you, I can understand that it's almost like, for some there could still be that, for some of you, the reason, okay, so this will only fit for some of you, but there could be some of you who, you know, there's been relationships that has fallen apart, and that's kind of what this could be very much talking about, you know, and maybe something needed to fall apart in order for it to go back together. Because here you really needed to learn, you know, the reasons for these steps, the reasons that you had to become this emperor, the reason that you had to begin again. You had to start from the beginning. You had to not only begin as the Fool, but you had to actually take that original seed and plant something new here. Was because there was a need here for you to really alter and shift your view on this. Shift your actual true connectedness. Okay, you know, this King of Cups is in reverse because it's almost as though, I almost feel like it is like, how deep though really are you? You know? Like, is it surface level or is it actually a true deep connection here? You know? The Hanged Man, the King of Pentacles, and the Knight of Pentacles in reverse. How committed to that deep growth are you? You know, and were you only committed because you were like hoping for this promise of a mixture of energies on the other side? Like, were you doing it for yourself here? You know, were you just like doing it for like that instant gratification? Like, okay, well, if I just do this quick healing, if I work on this, if I do this, if I, you know, say I release this, like, was it, you know, then I'm hoping to get something in return, right? Like, did you have an expectation behind that healing? Because you can't have expectations behind your healing. The only expectation that you can have is that you're handing it over to the universe, that you'll find peace. There's your expectation. You can't expect things other than that in return. And you certainly can't expect things from other people when you do your own healing. It's about self-liberation. The reason you really had to come to this understanding that you needed to be the emperor of your own life here, that you needed to start anew, that you needed to start planting brand new pentacles, is because you really needed to look at it from a much deeper perspective than you've been looking at it before. You were only allowing yourself to heal surface levels. You weren't being wrought. You didn't literally pull down all of the bullshit that needed to come down. Like, burn the fucking shit up until it looks like nothing but old crumbled structures that you can bulldoze over and bury. Dig a hole, bury. Let's see what this Ten of Wands in reverse in. The Ten of Wands was clarified by the Six of Pentacles. And that's just the understanding, you know, that the energies you continue to put out, if you continue, it's kind of like that wasp spirit, you know, in reverse. Or this wasp spirit here, right? Sometimes life stings. And if you continue to repeat the patterns of how you were a victim or how much you were suffering, until you can acknowledge that, wait, there is something beyond the suffering. I must show up to move forward somehow. There is healing. You will continue that. And this is, you know, this current energy is this aha moment that, wait a minute, I'm shifting this. I am already in this changed place. Now I just need to shift my perspective. Let's clarify this Ace of Wands here too, please. The Ace of Wands was the High Priestess. See, as I was saying, look at this. Both of their eyes are closed. The reason this happened was so that you could really, truly connect to that level of intuitiveness. You needed to connect to yourself in order to understand how raw and vulnerable you needed to be in this life. You needed to understand the balance. There was a reason that you went through those trials and those tribulations to get you to where you are now. But where you are now in this growth is that you are here. You have grown. So stand the fuck up. Stand up. It's like it's almost as though I kind of picture like, you know, God's got us all at the beach here, right? And we're all like drowning and drowning and drowning and, you know, flailing our arms and barely keeping our heads over the water. And God's like, will you just understand that this is within you? Stand up. Stand up. Okay, we're going to pull some moon cards here. We're going to pull one for each of the lines. I was going to pull them as I went, and I forgot, so I still want to pull them. All right, so we're going to pull a moon card here for this past energy. Supermoon. Emotions are running high. Well, we know that. Don't let your pride get in the way. And communication is key. Oh, aren't those beautiful for past energy? That's lovely. And that's really where we're coming from. You know, it's 2020 really rocked us on very many emotional levels. And I do feel like, you know, it was a matter of ego-led or soul-led, and you had the opportunity to step up, and that's really what it was looking like, you know. And if you're not really in that place, like if you're kind of even in this past energy state, right, where you're like still figuring out this King of Wands and Hierophant, and you're still going through that Wheel of Fortune and this understanding of the Two of Pentacles, right? There has been high emotions all freaking year, my friends. And pride has come up again and again and again. Our ego has smashed us in the face until it was like, but are you going to be ego-led or soul-led? What is your decision? We were forced to communicate who we were. We were forced to communicate our authenticity this year. What made us us? What made us true? That is what growth is all about. And how you show up to communicate that authenticity is such a real aspect to that. Let's see what the current energy is here. The moon card here for the current energy, Spirit. Conclusions are within reach. The full moon eclipse, isn't that beautiful? And the full moon comes in 10 days. Oh, one more. Let's get one for the steps. Let's get ones for the steps that are being made. The end of a tough cycle approaches. Look at this. The end is near when you decide that it's near, when you decide that it is over, that it is done, that is no more. And the answers you need are coming around the bottom of that deck. Okay, we're going to finish off here with one last She-Who card, and this is the LQ deck. I absolutely love this deck. It is such an empowering deck. And this is the advice. So this will be the last one. As I said, there is an extended, so that'll be linked to the end of this video, and it is actually a free extended. So I do highly encourage you to take a moment and, or not to take a moment, but to take time and to watch that section of this reading too, as we're going to be looking at the shadow of our growth and the light of our growth, okay? And what we really need to focus on to continue that growth. All right, let's get... All right. The she who sees, observe, preserve, and scrutinize, and she who forgives, remorse, guilt, forgiveness. Those are beautiful energies. Oh my goodness. Makita, she who sees, views the world with a keen eye. She wears a gold mask, which serves as her other eyes when necessary. There are moments when she will show her true self to the world. There are other times when the mask must be slipped down over her eyes. This protects her from the scrutiny of others, while allowing her to inspect what is before her. Her duty is to observe rather than to judge. She pays attention to patterns so she can report them as needed. Makita is the Tagalog word for see, so even her name reminds her to do what she must do. The message of this card is to take time to scope things out. This is a moment where you need to get the lay of the land. You may need to distinguish between what is real and what wants to be real. Your inner landscape must be surveyed as well. What can you see when you wait? Take no action now other than examining all the players and all the facts. Once you understand the game plans of others, you can begin to determine what your next steps might be. What are the patterns I see? When has quiet observation benefited me before, and how can I gain a new perspective now? You know, and that's so important when we're going through growth, is really to allow ourselves that time to really inspect, okay, now where am I going? What still needs to be healed? What still needs to be addressed? And she who forgives. Elixir. She who forgives wears a simple autumn leaves in her hair. Her hazel eyes welcome you to her world. The green of her gown echoes nature's favorite color. She is a healer. She holds the etched decanter containing a healing elixir of forgiveness. There is a dare hidden here. Like all miracle cures, you must seek her out and complete a task. Elixir's magical liquid can soothe your woes, but first you must address what caused those pains in the first place. Are you willing to engage in this adorous possibly perilous journey to the center of yourself? Elixir appears because you seem to be seeking solace from hurts afflicted by others. You must ask yourself if those wounds were self-afflicted. Did you stay too long when you knew you should go? Did you not return when you had messages that you were needed? There are so many ways we can harm ourselves, but the worst of all is the guilt. We heap blame upon ourselves when we can't undo what has been done. Remorse for the things said and unsaid. All of this must be dealt with when we are seeking healing. The message of this card is you can be healed, but first, you must forgive yourself. We can be healed, but first we must forgive ourselves. Well, my friends, that was a beautiful reading. Take great care of your souls. Bye now.